How you doing, guys? It's Luke from lukecurtis.co.uk, and I like to think I'm a forward-thinking guy and think that I'm sort of on top of trends and on top of technologies and whatnot. One of my biggest gripes ever, technologically, is banks. Banks are just the bane of everybody's lives. And I'm quite anti-establishmentarianism about banks, and I kind of go against the system and all that sort of jazz. Just because if you look at the advances that man has made in technology over the last few years, in particular, not even over the last decade or even the last few decades, but if you look at the advances that have been made and then you look at what banks can and can't do, like, it's pretty embarrassing really on their behalf in terms of their ability to respond promptly and deal with things correctly. So off the back of that, I come across Monzo. And Monzo are basically, so the story, or what I understand of the story, is a guy was so fed up with his bank, he decided one day he was just going to start his own bank. And he went about, done a sort of a crowdfunding page to get people behind it and justified his reasons as to why he wanted to do it, and got massive amounts of backing almost instantly, like overnight. It was people all collaborated and said, do you know what, 100%, we're totally against what the banks are doing, and there is a better way to do it because the technology is there to facilitate it. So you're almost creating it's a bank that's almost like, it takes the same route as an application within a mobile phone. And everybody has apps on their mobile phone for doing a range of different things. So you can imagine having an app for doing your bank. And yes, of course, your bank will have a banking application, but you're still limited to the confines of what the bank decides that they are or aren't going to do with your money in terms of transfer times and all that sort of thing. So I started off on the beta program just to try it out and put £100 in it and started using it as such. And I now am in the position, or I'm now in sort of the process of transferring over all of my banking to Monzo in terms of like my debit accounts and things like that, just on the basis that it's just so much better, and you can't believe how much better it is until you've actually used it. So for instance, the way it works is you would have your card, and your card is associated to a mobile phone in particular, and that mobile phone, you would then have an application. So you would have, let me just turn the brightness of my screen up so you probably won't see it because of the glare and all that sort of jazz. But if I was to go in, you will see that there's a Monzo app, and I won't, if I just pull that up, so you'll see that there's a Monzo app on my phone. I'm just pulling that to one side just because really it's my personal finances and I don't want to stick it on YouTube. But for instance, this morning I went out and I bought a coffee. Now, when I went out and bought a coffee, it tells me exactly how much money I've spent. So it tells me that I've spent £7.05 in Starbucks. So specifically how much money I've spent, and also where I spent the money. So when it comes to budgeting or reviewing your spending at the end of the month, I can look at it and say, okay, I spent X amount in Starbucks. Do you know what? I want to save some more money going into next month. I know how much I'm spending in Starbucks. Maybe that's where I can start to make that saving. You would struggle to do that on a normal bank, or it would be long-winded because the feedback isn't immediate. Like, it needs to be immediate. Like, everything nowadays is, especially mobile phone based, is immediate. It happens right now, and with banks that doesn't tend to happen. So another example of how Monzo I think is amazing is, if for instance I had an issue with my card, I can freeze my card instantly from my mobile phone. So I don't need to call a bank, I don't need to do anything like that. I can literally do it from my own comfort of my mobile phone. So last year I was on holiday and we had our purse snatched. So my partner Robin had her purse snatched, and we lost debit cards and credit cards and things like that. And being in another country and in a different time zone, it makes it really difficult to get in contact with your bank. So you kind of then have to shift your day to align with what your national bank is doing, so you can then contact them and make the changes. Whereas with using this, I wouldn't have to do that. I could literally just temporarily freeze the card. Now, say for instance, in that example, I would have permanently frozen the card. If for instance I had a crazy night out with my friends and I misplaced my card and I was like, oh God, I don't know where it is, but I don't know if it is stolen, I could just freeze it temporarily. And then lo and behold, I find it, I think, oh, thank God for that. I didn't have to cancel my card. I've now got a 3-day loop where I don't have a card available to me because I'm waiting for the bank to resend the card and then to resend my PIN code separately. So it's all just like super long-winded. And the idea of Monzo is basically to overcome all of those issues that you would have with a typical bank. And the reason it can do that technologically is for using a very intelligent API. And most APIs, basically it's like a translation platform between, you find APIs in everything now. You find APIs on EPOS systems, you find them in mobile phones. Like they give you the ability to get live feedback from, they're pretty cool things to have. And to facilitate that within a bank, of course, it's a great idea. So now Monzo are officially a bank. They are recognised, they have a banking license, and they are growing and growing and growing. So anyone that's considering it, I would strongly recommend to give it a go. Like even if you just take it out to put, a bit of cash on there for when you go on holiday, once you get into the habit of using it, like it is literally phenomenal. And I have a sort code and I have an account number, and I can use my bank as I normally would. Some of the other things I can do is once I set up payments, the payments are in there. I can review my spending. So if I go in, it tells me how much money I've spent in December. I'm not going to disclose that on YouTube, but I can tell you that £15 was spent on, so I can tell you £55 so far in December was spent on eating out. That's amazing. If I go into November, £84 was spent on eating out. It gives me a complete breakdown of where my spending is going in each of those categories. So that really helps me in terms of defining where I need to save money, or where there is opportunity to save money, or to just be in total grasp of my finance. And as soon as you do something, and I mean as soon as you do something, so today when I went into Starbucks and I bought my coffee, this chap here, no affiliation, no sponsorship, as soon as I pay with this card, you hear a ching, and I get notified on my phone of that spending. So another example is, say for instance, I come across, I get cha-ching, 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 I'm like, oh my God, where's that money going at? I know I'm not spending it. So normally if your card was stolen and you don't know it's stolen and people start using your card, there's a void before you realise, and you can stop it. This doesn't happen because you're getting immediate response. And that's one of the biggest downfalls of modern banks. And it's, in my opinion, it's not because they can't do it, because the technology is very much there to do it and has been around to do it for a long time. I think there are reasons in terms of why they don't do it. They're so big, it takes so long to get things signed off, and also because there's gain there. You go overdrawn, or you do this, you do that. That's where banks make some of their cash from, in charging you unfair fees, especially when you look at like debit cards and things like that. So just a review on Monzo, like if I was going to give it an industry 5-star, like industry out of 5, I would give it 5 stars. Like I think it's absolutely phenomenal. Contactless as well. There is no difference from me using this or using my traditional bank account. And as they grow and grow and grow and grow, if you aren't already aware of them, you will soon become aware of them, or a variant of what they do. But these guys are the ones, if you're going to go down this route in terms of cloud, sort of 21st century banking, as I would call it, because the banking infrastructure we've been using all our lives is ancient. Like it's absolutely ancient. Look at your mobile phone. So I guarantee if you look down at your mobile phone now, it's probably the latest iPhone, it's probably the latest Android phone, and you look at your bank account, when was the last time that was updated? So if you're considering it, 100% I would recommend it. If you've got any questions, pop it in the comments. And sort of my review on it, phenomenal, 5 out of 5.